I am back on trail out of Dunsmuir. Headed up, I am in Castle Crags State Park now. And apparently I must be one of the first ones back on trail this morning because I just spooked a spotted owl that was perched right close to the trail. And as I got close, it flew off and was screeching and let me know that it was not pleased that I woke it up. So it's kind of funny. But anyway, I should be approaching the 1,500 mile mark in about a quarter mile now. And so looking forward to that and getting to Ashland in a week. I am looking forward to a haircut, and my wife is sending me a razor so I get to shave and clean up and look good for no apparent reason other than just to get back on the trail and look like a dirty bum again. But at least I'll feel better. My hair is definitely longer than it has ever been since high school, and I'm ready for it to get cut. So I've come about 3 miles so far, and I've entered the Castle Crags wilderness in the National Forest, Shasta Trinity National Forest, and it's really pretty up here. So again, mostly hiking in the woods, but when I get a view, I'll share it. Otherwise you're stuck looking at trees or staring into the sun like last week, or the perpetual selfie of me just talking. So I will share the highlights that I see. I've been going uphill all day, well, since I started, past probably about 13 miles. But when you have a view, it's not so bad. So definitely beautiful up here. This is what I've been missing for the past week. So this is Castle Crags, and way off in the distance over that way you can see Lassen. It is center screen right now. Barely see it, but it is absolutely beautiful up here. About a half hour away from camp, and probably at around 6,500 feet at this point. I'm not sure exactly how far I went up today. I know I hiked, or by the time I get to camp I will have hiked a little over 17 miles. But looking back, I can't even see the interstate, so it's somewhere behind Castle Crags, down in that valley. But looks like tomorrow I'll hop over the ridge and we'll get to see what's on the other side. Haven't seen Shasta at all today, so I would assume on the other side of this ridge I'll have a view of Mount Shasta and Mount Shastita. Getting up this morning, I caught the tail end of a beautiful sunrise rising behind Mount Shasta and Castle Crags. So just absolutely gorgeous. And looking at the gut hook app at the photos of campsites and water sources and whatnot throughout today, it looks like I'll be staying up here kind of above tree line most of the day. So I'm excited about that, just for the views. Kind of what my soul needed at this point. Just gorgeous this morning. And we'll be headed off this way. This morning's been just an absolutely beautiful walk. I've kind of circled around the valley last night, coming out of Dunsmuir, and then went up over a ridge today, followed the ridge along, and now I'm kind of circling another valley and kind of see this is the view. I came from right up there, that saddle center screen. That's where I popped through, and as you can see, I'm actually seeing snow today. So surprised about that, considering I'm only just under 7,000 feet, and when I was in the Sierra the snow line was about 9,000 feet. So it just shows how much more snow they got in Northern California than the Sierra got. So everybody that thought the Sierra was too snowed in to cross and skipped north, they really had some snow to deal with once they got up here. Lots of wildflowers out, and just gorgeous. Well, I left camp at around 6:30 this morning after taking down. It's a bit cloudy last night, and I figured it was probably going to rain, and it did a little bit. So I had the tarp up, and I had a cooked breakfast this morning, so it took a little longer to get out of camp, but after a couple miles of uphill, now I'm doing about 5 miles of very gentle downhill. You can see the trail kind of cross that ridge over there. Maybe you can't, I don't know. But just about to get into a saddle up here, and just the scenery this morning's been beautiful. It's still been overcast and a little chilly, so my hands are definitely cold, a little windy as well, but I've still been kind of in this somewhat above tree line, subalpine kind of area. Alright, here we go. Now you can get a little bit of the view of what I've been seeing. So, off to the right, kind of like this. And that's over where I came from. Back there. So the past couple miles I've been walking in the woods and just came out on this ridge to an absolutely gorgeous view. I don't know what those peaks are over there, but they're pretty. I'm about mile 1565, and a few miles back I entered the Trinity Alps wilderness area, and it is just gorgeous. So I came from back that way, and I'm going to circle around this valley, I believe, and then hop up on the other side of the ridge, right up in that saddle right there. So this side is just beautiful though, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's on the other side. Well, here's what was on the other side. Beautiful valley, nice lakes, and I'm going to be ridge walking over here for a bit, and then looks like I'm going to hike down into the saddle, back up, and then start my downhill. That'll go for probably about 10 miles. I've been hiking for a couple hours now, and I left the Trinity Alps wilderness this morning, and I'm now in the Russian wilderness in the Klamath National Forest, and a lot more granite over here than what I've been seeing lately. So I don't know if that's just this ridge or if it's going to be this section of the range that has more granite in it, but it's been a pretty hike so far, mostly uphill, and now I'm just kind of winding along this ridge here, which goes pretty steep down, but just enjoying the cool mountain air while it lasts, because I know it's going to be hot this afternoon. Stopped for lunch a few miles back and filled up on water, and now I'm a little less than halfway through a 12-mile dry stretch. So I'll probably camp a little past the next water source, be about 30 miles for me today. And there's the road to Etna, but here is the view. Those are the mountains I was coming from. Went through a burn area this morning, but when I've had a view today, it has been gorgeous, but I've also been in the forest maybe a little less than half the time. Well, I've done about 30 miles so far. Got another mile and a half into camp, and that'll be it for me. Been a long day. It's about 6:30. Lots of ups and downs today. So even though there weren't any real long climbs, there's still a lot of elevation gain, and my legs are definitely tired. So head into camp and get some rest. I've been hiking for a bit this morning, and probably about a little over 2 hours. And this area has just, it's looked like the Sierra again, minus the snow. A little bit of snow, but just absolutely beautiful. These tall peaks, pretty rugged, basalt instead of granite, but there's a lot of lakes down here too, and then especially this area right here, that is granite, and that definitely looks like something that we would have seen in the Sierra. So just gorgeous so far today. Earlier this morning, when I'd pointed off to the mountains in the distance and said they were granite, I was mistaken. It's actually marble. So now that I'm hiking in it, I can tell it's marble, and that makes sense given I'm in the marble mountain wilderness of the Klamath National Forest. So my bad. They're marble. Really pretty too. So I am hiking into Seiad Valley right now, and it's been about 15 miles so far this morning. Camped last night a little way down the ridge. It was probably about a 4,500 foot elevation loss. It's been 6 miles of road walk so far this morning, and I'm doing a short day today. Gonna go into the restaurant and the store in Seiad Valley, which I think is right over here, and then only hike probably about 5 miles out. So on the way down, lots of blackberries. Definitely slowed our progress down here. Been hiking with Old School and Mama Goose, so just enjoying it today. Got to go sit in the shade and maybe have a milkshake and a burger, something. Get some food for lunch and then pack something out for dinner. I've been eating a lot of my snacks that are supposed to last me the next 2 days to Ashland, but I'll be able to resupply here at the store, and I will be in Oregon tomorrow. Well, here is Seiad Valley from the mountains north of it. Obviously I did not get out last night. Wound up spending the night at the RV park and just relaxing a bit. Had been having some issues with my feet again. seems I haven't been stopping and letting them air out enough, and so I'm starting to get trench foot, which, doing some research, is actually pretty common among long distance hikers. So I'm gonna start stopping about every 5 miles, let them air out for a bit, change socks, and should clear up on its own. There's actually another guy who's got it much worse than I do. He can barely walk. So spent the night in there. Probably ate too much town food. Half gallon of ice cream in one shot. It was much easier this time than when I did it on the AT for the half gallon challenge. And so now I'm hiking up. It's a big climb first thing in the morning, about 4,500 feet in about 8 or 9 miles. So pretty steep, but great views of the valley and surrounding area. Again, a lot of burn from 2014. There was a fire that came through here. So I'm about 4 miles in to my 10-mile ascent, and then another probably 15 miles after that today. I'm about mile 1672 and been ridgewalking most of the day after that 10-mile uphill. Had a short little ridgewalk and then dropped down 1,000 miles to a road, climbed back up 1,000 miles to this road, or 1,000 miles, 1,000 feet, dropped down 1,000 feet, came up 1,000 feet, and now I'm up on this ridge. So beautiful view of Mount Shasta and some of the ridges I've been climbing. So it looks like Mount Shasta's got a little smoke around it. I don't know if the video's picking that up. I can't smell anything, but I don't know, maybe it's just this side of the mountain. The snow's a little dirtier, so it's looking brown, but it looks like there's a brown haze around the base of Mount Shasta. So we'll see what's going on when we get into Ashland. But I'll be doing about another 6 to 8 miles. It's about 4:30, and my feet are doing okay. Been airing them out every 2 hours, stopping for a half hour, and then an hour for lunch. So they're doing better. Don't hurt as bad today, but I can tell right when I stop, they still look all kind of nasty. So do another couple hours and then stop for the night, air them out some more, and do the same thing tomorrow, and then I'll get another full day to rest them in Ashland. So that'll be nice. Slept at Alex Hole Spring last night around mile 1680, and now I'm up this morning and have a ridge walk. So beautiful fields full of wildflowers here. I've got, I think, about 9 miles before I reach the Oregon border, and so I'm excited for today. Finally Finally leaving California. Well, I've just made it into Oregon. So this is what Oregon looks like. I heard it was flat, but I'm greeted with a 1,000-foot climb as soon as I get into the state, so I didn't really believe it was flat anyway. So anyway, I've done about 9 miles so far today, and should have about another 16 left. I'm at mile 1704, and it's been a pretty walk today since I entered Oregon. Scenery hasn't really changed much. Forest type is the same, and Mount Shasta is still dominating the landscape. Yep. Just trying to see if I could show you a little bit. And Mount Shasta is still right there. So half the time I don't know if I'm looking at mountains back in California or actually looking at mountains in Oregon, because the trail's kind of meandering around. But it's been a good day. Had some wonderful trail magic earlier just past the border and stayed there too long, probably about 3 hours over lunch, and they made hot dogs and had some drinks, and then another couple ladies showed up with fruit, and so it was a lot of stuff. So had my fill, and then after 3 hours decided it was probably time to leave if I was going to make any distance at all today. So been doing that, and now it's about 7:30 at night, and I'm still not at camp. So got about another mile and a half left, and I will be camping. So I'll get in around 7:45 tonight. It'll still be light out. And then tomorrow morning I will get up and do about 11 miles into Ashland. Well, this is the view from camp tonight. My first night in Oregon. Not bad. That's looking at Mount Shasta back in California with the sun setting behind me, behind the ridge. So I can't watch the sunset, but I can watch it play on the opposite horizon. I wanted to stay over there. That little clearing there has a shelter, but I missed the turnoff. It was on a road. It's about a quarter mile off trail, but I'm happy right here. Well, I've made it almost to Ashland. I am about 1/10 of a mile away from the side trail to Callahan's Lodge, and I'll be turning in there to then try and get a ride into Ashland.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Well, there's so much they hold, and just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Well, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, and when you're needing your space, to do some navigating. I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. 'Cause even the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't want to be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got here. We got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am.